So, what is an NBA superstar and who are they? What determines if somebody's a superstar? Is it the market that they play in? Are they on contenders? Is it their scoring, their playmaking, their defensive versatility? What exactly makes an NBA superstar? Well, this is a question that I would like to pose and ask in this episode. Now, some of you might disagree with my criteria, but I would like for you to finish watching the video and then you can tell me what you think in the comment section. So let's go ahead and jump in. So an NBA superstar for me is a player who is an MVP in the prime of their career. A player who has won an MVP in the prime of their career, and they are clear number one options on teams that could win championships. Now, the reason I have this defined like this is because in NBA history, when I think of a superstar, I'm thinking of players like Michael Jordan, players like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. You move into the 1990s and you get the Kobe's and Allen Iversons, and you get players in the 2000s like the Tim Duncans with Kobe, with Shaq, all these amazing players. Now, there's always an exception to the rule. Kobe Bryant didn't win an NBA MVP until the 2008 season, and Dwayne Wade never won one. So I think that we can all say those were superstar players. They were also elite championship players and high-level performers in the playoffs and in the finals. But for the sake of this conversation in this era, I want to say that you have to have an MVP, and you also have to be the number one option on a contending team. But number one option in the finals and playoffs is also significant because that can change as well. So in my estimation, I believe right now that there are 6 superstars in the NBA, and I believe that there are 2 pending, soon-to-be superstar, and there's also a third that's right on the cusp as well. So first, LeBron James. LeBron James is the biggest star in the NBA. He has been for well over a decade. LeBron James came in the league in 2003. He's been to 10 finals, won 4 championships, 4 MVPs, multiple first-team All-NBAs, as well as All-Star Game MVPs, All-Star bids, you name it. LeBron James is the engine of the NBA. Nobody is arguably talked about on television when it comes to the NBA more than LeBron James. It's pretty clear that even at age 37, if he's not in the same peak and prime he was when he was 31 or 30 years old, he's still enough in his prime where he's a factor. He's a great player. He's going to be all NBA again this season. So even if he's on the downside of his career, LeBron James still fits the criteria for a superstar because, again, not only the on-court product, but he's also done it at the highest moments as well. MVP player still in his prime. The next, I have Steph Curry. Steph Curry is, I think, the most talked about player with all the social media accounts combined around for the NBA. Steph Curry, 3-time champion, 2-time MVP. He's on pace to perhaps win his 4th championship this year, as well as be the, without a shadow of a doubt, finals MVP for this team. Steph Curry is the greatest shooter we have in the NBA and NBA history. So everything that the NBA does with telling the story about shooting and the offensive explosion, a lot of that begins and ends with Steph Curry's impact on the game. Steph Curry on court is amazing. His on-off numbers, everything that he provides for the Golden State Warriors, there's not much of an argument to be made. He, again, clear superstar in the NBA. And I would argue that LeBron James and Steph Curry are in a different tier of superstars because of the championships, because of the persona, because of what they brought to the game. Those are the players who are clear tier 1 superstars in the NBA. Up next, we got Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant didn't have a great series this season versus the Boston Celtics, but Kevin Durant is one of the greatest scorers of all time, top 15 greatest players ever. And again, for much of the season when he was healthy, he was in the MVP conversation, if not leading it. Kevin Durant is still in his prime. He's won an MVP, obviously, in 2014. The last 2 seasons, maybe had he not gotten hurt, he might have been at the leaderboard for a lot of these discussions around the most valuable player in the NBA. Now, I think people are catching up to Kevin Durant's limitations as a playmaker, as a defender. Does he really elevate a team around him, or is he the ceiling piece that pushes you over the top that makes you an unbeatable championship contender like those Golden State Warriors team? But Kevin Durant still does it all. Kevin Durant is a clear superstar. I think, again, that's that next tier right behind LeBron James and Steph Curry. I think Kevin Durant takes up that place right after that. And with him in that same conversation, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Giannis Antetokounmpo is maybe the best player in the NBA. He has an argument to be the best player in the NBA. He does everything offensively, defensively. Two-time MVP player, clearly in his prime, clearly still getting better. Defensive Player of the Year winner, Defensive Player of the Year candidate this season, all NBA defense. 4 straight seasons of 25, 10, and 5. Giannis Antetokounmpo may be on track to win his next championship, and then also to be Finals MVP once again. So he is on a trajectory where he's clearly going to be a top 15 all-time player. Some would even say top 10. Giannis has everything. He has the social media. He has the off-court stuff, the way he handles his press conferences, the way he handles himself in the media, his drive, his determination. He has been a playoff riser the last couple of seasons. Giannis is that guy. And I think, again, in that same category with Kevin Durant, with room to get into tier 1, Giannis Antetokounmpo. Up next, Nikola Jokic. Now, some people will push back against this because they'll say, well, his social media presence isn't there, not on social media. He doesn't do the commercials. But again, for the sake of this conversation, I said that MVPs in their prime, but also players that can be number 1 options on championship teams. Nikola Jokic is the best playmaking big ever, the best passing big ever, one of the greatest playmakers and offensive players, offensive engines in NBA history. He's also one of the best floor raiders in the NBA. He took a team without his best 2, second and third best player this season, and they won 48 games. And in the playoffs, he put up an amazing 31, 13, and 6 on 57% shooting against the Golden State Warriors. So he has it. If you're a back-to-back MVP in this league, you're a superstar. Steve Nash, again, a lot of people don't like that he won back-to-back MVPs, but he was one of the greatest offensive engines ever. He was a superstar. And Nikola Jokic is better than Steve Nash was. You win 2 MVPs when you're in a league with Giannis, Joel Embiid, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and you win back-to-back MVPs over the course of that point in time. Last year, they said it's because he played more games than everybody. This year, he comes out 74 games. Giannis plays about, I want to say 65. I think Joel Embiid played about 68. And he still comes out and wins the MVP again. That's a superstar player. He's going to be the youngest player in NBA history to sign the Supermax. He will be the highest paid player in NBA history as well. While he doesn't have the social media presence, you can't talk about the sport of basketball or the NBA without starting somewhere near Nikola Jokic. And lastly, on my superstar list is Kawhi Leonard. Now, the reason that he's here is because he's a 2-time Finals MVP. Obviously, 3 of the seasons he had, that 2017-18 season, and the 2 seasons he had when he was healthy with the Los Angeles Clippers. Those were elite regular season performances. Now, he's never won a regular season MVP, but some of the clutchest and most memorable moments in recent finals history, in recent playoff history, they come from Kawhi Leonard. Now, when he's healthy, he's a preeminent perimeter guard, stopper, preeminent wing stopper, but he's also one of the best scorers in the NBA on efficiency and that deadly mid-range shot that he has. Kawhi Leonard is a bona fide superstar. Again, even though it's not as important, the off-court stuff, the commercials, the New Balances, the King of LA, the Battle of LA, that started with LeBron James and Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is a superstar in the NBA, even though he's a quiet one. So if I had to tier even this list so far, it's LeBron James, it's Steph Curry. Then after that, in tier 2, it's going to be Kevin Durant and Giannis Antetokounmpo. And I think Giannis can get in that tier 1 eventually. And then after that, in that next tier of superstar, Nikola Jokic, who hasn't been to a finals yet, and Kawhi Leonard because of injury issues in the last 2 seasons. And again, played great in the playoffs versus the Dallas Mavericks, but the year before they did lose to Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray in the playoffs. So those are my 6 superstars. And the 3 that just missed the cut are Joel Embiid, Luka Doncic, and Jason Tatum. Now, if you yourself want to put Joel Embiid, want to put Luka Doncic, and you even want to put Jason Tatum down the line, or maybe even he goes on a finals run this year in that conversation, I'm not going to push back too hard. But again, based on my criteria, you have to have 1 MVP. Joel Embiid is a great player, but a part of a superstar is your availability. The injuries do matter in the conversation about Joel Embiid. Now, fair or not, he hasn't had moments truly to take his team to the next level in the playoffs. But again, if you want to say Ben Simmons, the shot from Kawhi Leonard, the fit around him, fully understand that. Joel Embiid has been, I think, a top 3 or 4 player in a regular season the last 2 years. He's going to be runner-up in the MVP conversation for 2 straight seasons. He has an argument. He also plays in Philadelphia. I want to say the 4th largest market in the NBA. If you want to put him there, I'm cool. But again, I think he has a little bit more to do, in the playoffs. And he does eventually, even though I know his writers and all that, he does need to win some awards eventually. He does need to make first-team All-NBA eventually. But again, I'm not faulting him for not doing it. I do think the players that are ahead of him are better. But Joel Embiid has a part of that conversation. If you want to put him there, no issue with it whatsoever. Luka Doncic, Luka is a historic player. He's only 23 years old. He was predicted by ESPN to be the MVP winner in back-to-back seasons. Luka Doncic is incredible. Everything you could ask for. He's a great playoff player, averaging around 32.7, 9, and 9 throughout the playoffs. He first made it out of this first round for the first time this season, going into the second round versus the Phoenix Suns. Luka has an incredible journey ahead of him. All he has to do is stay healthy. He needs to come into the season in shape. So this is a part of his story as well. If he comes into the season in shape the last 2 years, he could be leading the MVP conversation. If he comes in shape, the team is also probably situated better. But a part of being a superstar is having the emotional, physical, and mental and spiritual ability to lead your team on a game-by-game basis. And again, I define that by what Kobe Bryant did over the course of his illustrious career. You knew each and every season, the start of every season, every game, he was going to give you the very best that he got. Luka can get there. He's only 23, but he just misses the cut for me. But he also has an argument. He's an international superstar. If you want to add that to a EuroLeague champion at 16, EuroLeague MVP at 18, you want to put all that in there? Look, no issue with it. He didn't make my cut just yet. Right outside of that, Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum is 23 years old. He feels like he's been in the NBA for so long, but it's only been since 2017. He has a chance, if they beat the Bucks this year, to make another Eastern Conference Finals. He was amazing the last 40 or so games this year. He's the best player on this Boston Celtics team that was number one in efficiency and number one in efficiency on defense and offense, basically from January on this season. He's a two-way player, developed into an elite defensive player as well as being an elite offensive player this year. Jason Tatum has all the tools in the toolbox to become a superstar one day and one of the greatest markets in the history of the sport in Boston. So that's my criteria. Those 6 are my players, and these are the 3 that just missed the cut. Let me know what you think. Do you disagree? Do you push back? Would you take somebody out of that superstar tier? Who would you put in the superstar tier? Let me know, because again, I want to be open for discussion. But based on my criteria, the superstars I have in the NBA: LeBron James, Steph Curry, Kevin Durant, Giannis Antetokounmpo, Nikola Jokic, Kawhi Leonard, and just missing the cut, Joel Embiid, Luka Doncic, and Jason Tatum. Hey, y'all, let me know what you think. We out. Make sure you hit that subscribe button as well, y'all.